All right. Hello, this is Wmpyr, and this is one of those videos where I started with, I just saw a YouTube video, because I have done several of those, probably hundreds. Um, yeah, I just saw a YouTube video of this lady who seemed like a nice lady, and she said that she had been um, like traumatized and going through depression and just some hardships in her life, and now was the time where she wanted to change that and live better, like more spiritual, work on inner happiness, self-peace kind of thing. And so she started training in Filipino martial arts. I'm not going to say what school, what instructor, but the guy, her instructor, is a famous one of the famous guys. And like I said, I'm not here to bash anybody. So um, I suspected that it was this person, and when she said that, I was honestly disappointed. Um, and I felt compelled to make this video. uh, why? Look, I'm not here to judge anybody, right? So I'm walking on a very fine line here, like right on the edge, because I can easily fall into the category of I'm making judgment on somebody. But to flat out put it as simple as possible, um, and I was just talking about this with my longtime friend, and he said to me that my YouTube channel is not professional. And he wasn't saying it to put me down, he was saying it to help me out, and he's absolutely right. My YouTube channel is basically a journal where what you guys are seeing is my like weekly journal where I just put in an entry whenever I feel like on whatever I feel like, kind of thing. So it really is a journal format. And honestly, I remember when I started YouTube, when I first joined in 2006, I remember that's what I wanted to do. And it's funny because I've not intentionally knowing that, or really like thinking about that, that's what I've been doing. This is kind of a journal format, or should I say it's exactly a journal format, rather than me being, I'm a professor, here's the class, I'm going to teach you guys the class, this is the way it's going to be, uh, and I just tell you guys, which I do that, but a lot of it is just me opening up to you guys. He said I'm your friend, and that's, I think that's very true. It's very accurate. And he actually remembers my school when I opened a school in San Antonio, physical, a dojo. He came to it and he saw the way that I taught, and I remember, he knew that, and he still talks about that today. He's like, your goal was always to get people as good as possible, as fast as you can, so that you can play. This is a laboratory for you, where you guys are just doing experiments. And he's absolutely right. That's what I wanted. I never wanted the teacher-student relationship. To me, that was just a necessary area you had to go through. But as quickly as possible, I'm training people. I wanted as many assistant instructors as possible, surround myself by that. Um, and, to me, that's where the real fun began, is when we're experimenting. And a lot of the stuff that I present to you guys today comes from those experiments, because I believe that is how, pretty much the formula of like how colleges work, universities and stuff. Uh, they have new findings, research-based findings, and then you replicate that and they share it with the world, and people, see your research, and they replicate the experiments, and they keep going, and that's how um, I believe that connects to our scientific discoveries and whatnot. So um, but yeah, I have been calling myself a teacher, and I am, but honestly, my friend's right. I am half-assed at it, and I apologize to you guys. I'm gonna try to do a better job with that. I've just been so busy. It's just been so fun, so exciting working on my craft, just evolving myself. It's super fun. And for me, that's where it's at. I feel like I've said to you guys many times, Sherlock Holmes. I feel like a scientist. I'm just experimenting and finding new stuff. Do you know how exciting that is? That's like, I remember a Japanese doctor was working in a third world country. I don't remember where, Laos, Cambodia. I don't know where, but he was working over there for basically no money. Like he wasn't really making any money. It was pretty much he was doing a service, right? And they asked him, like, why do you do this? And he was like, look, it sounds cool if I tell you guys that, hey, I am doing this because it's humanitarian, and I am providing this service to where other doctors don't want to work here, and I'm doing the dirty work, and I'm helping out people, and that's the thanks that I get, and that's why I do it, kind of thing. And he said, but sure, that's part of it, but he says the real reason is I get to do um, like cutting edge stuff here, and he's able to, like, he says, like, do you know how many surgeries I did today? Is insane, because there's nobody else. I have to do it, that kind of thing. So I when he said that, I absolutely understood what he was talking about. It's like, yes, I'm here on YouTube, and I, provide. I've said to you guys before that if you have questions, ask me. I'll do the best that I can to help you out. Um, I've made video responses for people. I'm not saying I'll always do that. It's also time restraint and stuff like that. But and then if you want to, I provide a free service of where you send me a video. Like, if you're asking for my one-on-one personal time to teach you, like a private lesson or semi-private with maybe two other people or three other people, whatever, then I charge, because that's my time. But um, if you send me a video of yourself working out and you go, can you give me some pointers? I've never charged for that, and I never will. To this day, I will give you pointers for free. All you got to do is send me a video. What I ask is, please make it a video that I can see. If you make it to where I have to download it from something, I may not be able to. And I had one person really wanted me to see something, and I was like, I'm sorry, I don't have that compatible software. And I don't know if they got angry, upset, or what, but um, one of the best ways is to put it up on YouTube, but you can make it private, and you could just make sure to add me so I can see it, and I'll be happy to give you pointers and stuff. That's what I'm here for, is to help you guys out. I a lot of you guys call me Sifu and all this kind of stuff, guru and all. Guru, Filipino is guru. That kind of stuff. I've been called everything that you guys can think of. Sensei works for me, just because sensei, it means teacher in Japanese. I'm Japanese, so teacher is just, it's a teacher. It's nothing special. I don't want to be called by like some weird title. I don't feel entitled. So, but really, coach is fine. I have no problem. I like that. Sensei, coach, teacher, that's cool. Instructor, those are all cool. But really, honestly, I feel like I'm just a guide. I'm on my path, you're on your path, and I am a guide to help you out on your path. And that's really important to me because my teacher's teacher, which is Professor Remy Presas, he said, make it your own. And if you really take that seriously, then my style is called B1 Escrima. I teach it to you, then when you teach, maybe you won't, but if you're going to teach, you should teach your style, not my style, because you made it your own. You see what I'm saying? So then there's no my brand spreads and there's affiliations and what am I trying to do? Conquer the martial arts world? Conquer YouTube land? To me, spiritually, all that it doesn't resonate. And a lot of these famous instructors, especially on YouTube, it takes a lot of effort to get to where they're at. That's no accident. You have to really want that and really work for that. So they're spending a lot of time on marketing, on how to make their YouTube channel bigger and all that. I get to spend all my time on my skill. So I love that. And I'm not calling them a sellout because what they're doing is difficult and it works for them and that's what they want. And it's about fame and money and whatever for them. And that's their problem. And I call it a problem because to me that's negative. That's not a positive thing. Um, Fame and fortune creates power. Power is going to create, it's going to corrupt you. So that's just the way that I see it. I'm not against being successful, but I am definitely, I've said it to you guys before, an indies guy. I like art, so I'm doing this for art. I'm doing it for creativity. I'm a creative person. So to say that I want to dominate business-wise, money-making-wise, and all that, that just doesn't resonate to me. Yeah, I can't relate to it, don't want to relate to it. I stay far away from that. So when a sweet person who has been clearly traumatized and is looking for a spiritual uplift and they tell me that they train under someone like that, I have to make a video, and that's what this is. And if I tell the person, hey, that person's no good, I'm making judgment, so that's not right. I'm mudslinging, that's not right. And there's also a conflict of interest because that famous person is an instructor and I'm an instructor. And so, that's called a conflict of interest. And that's not what I'm trying to do. And I'm not saying, hey, switch from him to me. Let me steal this person. No, no, no. What I do want to say is that, look, if you found a martial art that you really enjoy, I don't care what style and I don't care what instructor, whomever it is, I'm happy for you, okay? So you got a fire inside that's burning and you're going, I see value in this. Like, this is going to be good for me, good for my life. That's a fantastic thing, okay? You have to be careful that there are cults. There are instructors that pretend to be messiahs, cult leaders. They pretend to be a good spiritual human being. Look, I train in nature. I'm at one. I'm enlightened. All this kind of stuff. Oh boy, you better be careful because there's a ton of them out there. And like this instructor in particular, I saw a long interview with him, and at the end of the day, they asked him like, what do you see for yourself in the future? And he said to dominate the YouTube world, or it wasn't even that. It was to say he wanted to dominate the world with his brand. And if he's, acting like he's all like, I'm spiritually in a good place, and I can help you heal and feel better, and not just fighting skill, but also your life, then he's full of it. So what I'm saying is, please be careful. Okay, that's all I'm saying. That's all. I'm not saying he's bad or switch to me. No, all I'm saying is, wherever you go, wherever instructor you, because mine, like my friend said, my channel, YouTube channel, is not professional. I'm gonna try to do a better job, and this is not to try to lure anyone into my YouTube channel. I will. He said first start with your playlists. So I did make a playlist for you guys, because a lot of you guys have asked before. It's like, where do I start? And I always say, whatever clicks for you, whatever video you see on my YouTube channel, and you like it, start there. Whatever seems to make sense, start there. That's what I say, because everybody learns differently, is my experience. But I know that that's not satisfying for a lot of people. Like, people still feel lost. So I made a playlist going, this is the basics, right? So I've made that years ago, and it's probably outdated, but it still has like maybe like 10 videos of good basics, me teaching you the basics and stuff. But he said that that's not good enough, and he's right. And so what I'm gonna do is, he said, this was his example. He said, you teach like Heaven 6, then just make a playlist that's only Heaven 6. So if somebody wants to like binge watch that, they could just go one video after, because I have hundreds and hundreds of videos. But okay, this is turning into like my advertisement, and that's not what this is about. So, but yeah, I'm gonna work on that. Okay, but anyway, so to this person, I don't even know if they're gonna watch this video, or if I even want to send it to them, really, because it's too much conflict of interest going on. But I think I will. Oh gosh, I'm debating. So if you are the person that I'm making the video for, I apologize for all that. Really, I'm not trying to recruit you or anything. Look, the way I see it is, you're a fellow practitioner, and I see myself as, like I said, a guide, but someone. I'm a student for life. I've just probably been in it way longer than a lot of people. Uh, 3+ decades. So that forces me into like a teacher position or instructor. I should help. If you've been doing it that long, you should be helping, kind of thing. But and I try to, but really, I'm just having way too much fun learning it and doing it daily, right? Uh, so if you have that bug and that fire, it's a wonderful thing. Like you said, life is hard. So training in any kind of martial art, doesn't have to be Filipino martial art, but any kind of martial art toughens you up. Every cell in your body fights to live. Therefore, martial arts, to make yourself tougher through martial arts, because the chances of you being assaulted or attacked by a criminal or something like that, hopefully, is extremely rare in your life. If it's not, I question, where are you living? Why do you live there? What's going on in your life? But hopefully it's a very, very rare thing, right? I mean, 1 year is what, 365 days, and you lived, I don't know how old you are, but let's say you're 40. Think of how many days have you gone, and how many days have you actually been attacked, physically attacked. So hopefully it's a rare, rare thing. But making yourself strong, making your my student said this to me. He carried a weapon, and he knows good enough, well enough, that you don't want to use a weapon in a self-defense situation. That should be common sense. I knew this too. I knew that in the street, and this is in my college years, in college, I went to some sketchy areas hanging out with friends, and I knew that if it got rough, that in the streets there could be multiple attackers, there could be weapons. So in that case, I need at the very least weapons. But in real life, I don't want to use weapon because that makes things extremely serious. So, that's just, for me, that was common sense. So I knew that even though I have these skills, I don't want to be using that. So I did everything I could to avoid confrontation, which really, really helped me out. And then I had the mentality that being in a physical confrontation, um, if I get involved with someone and I do that is a lose-lose situation. It doesn't matter if I took them out, defanged the snake, beat their arm, I could have destroyed them, but I didn't, held back or whatever. The moment I get into a physical altercation with somebody, that's a lose-lose situation. The risks are just, it's not worth it. During and also the aftermath and legal aspects and all of that, you could run into the person again. The person may come looking for you for revenge. It's just not worth it in every way. It's a lose-lose situation. Like to me, that is fighting is failed communication. Same with war. War is failed communication. So there's no winners from there, kind of thing. Uh, so anyway, but he said just having the weapon in his pocket, and he almost got assaulted, and he had having that gave him the courage, he said, to feel better and to be able to make that decision and go, I need to get out of here. And he ran off, and he felt better about himself, going, I'm not a coward. I'm not running away because I'm scared. I'm running away because it's the smart thing to do. So just having the weapon there. So that's what martial arts is. It's like having that weapon, but it's your body and your mind and hopefully your spirit too. But anyway, so all that is a wonderful thing. Just be careful. It's kind of the things like never meet your heroes. Who someone said that, right? Don't don't ever meet your heroes, kind of thing. You're just going to be disappointed. Um, that when you have a cult, the cult leader is obviously a horrible person, but it also takes two. You putting them up on a pedestal is not a good idea. So even though you're really happy and excited, without understanding, you may be putting them on a pedestal, and we have to be careful of that. And they'll eat it all up, especially if they have that kind of. I'm not saying this guy does, but I'm just saying cult leaders will have this kind of personality and these kinds of con artists, they are so good at what they do that it's hard to tell. I'm not saying that you are blind, but they will make you blind. They're that good. You could be a solid human being, but they're gonna dupe you. They're really, really, really good at what they do. And on top of that, the average person is not prepared to handle someone like that is a manipulator, that is a cult leader. I keep using that word, but this charismatic martial artist, this leader. These kinds of people are very good at manipulating people, using people, and disguising it. So I'm just all I'm saying, be careful. Um, If you gaining positive things can kind of blind you. It's kind of like you're emitting your own light, and that light can blind you. So you have to be careful. There needs to be a balance with the light and the dark. And the dark is, I'm not trying to scare you, but it can be there. You don't want to be ignorant about that. And a lot of times when we are beginners and stuff, we really don't know what we're talking about. And I see, I don't know how many comments I see of people watching these kinds of charismatic martial arts leaders. And then in the comments is like, oh, you're amazing, you're fantastic, you're an excellent teacher, and all this. And these are all people that don't know what they're talking about saying this kind of stuff. Um, it's like the blind leading the blind, and that's exactly how we get cults, right? So you have to be careful with that. Yeah, I don't mean to be the party pooper. Hey, like I said, I'm having tremendous fun right now, and this is, I've been doing it for a long time, and it's mega fun. So I wish that upon anybody in their martial arts journey. But I'm not gonna lie and say that it was an amazing path. In my journey, my first real instructor, you know what? The very first experience I had in Japan, that instructor was abusive, flat out. He was not he beat up a student in front of everybody. Student was in tears. There was just, big droplets from his eyes, to the point where one of the kids, said, "Hey, sensei, you're killing him." And he's like, "No, I'm just showing you guys because he's actually pretty good, so he can take this. So I'm just using him to demonstrate." And it's like, "Sensei, you're killing the guy." Uh, so anyway, that was my very first in PE class, because they taught judo in PE. And then my second instructor after that, oh, he was abusive. We had kids and adults in the class. I guess the class was sometimes small enough that you just combine the two. At other times, yeah, was it always like that? It, yeah, and I think it just broke off into kids go practice over there and the adults practice over here. Um, but anyway, the kid, so what is he? He couldn't have been 15. Uh, when I was in junior high school, so this kid, maybe like 10, 12 max. He's like 10 years old. And the instructor punched him. I wasn't there for this, but this is the kind of stuff that he did. The instructor punched him in the stomach, and then the kid starts crying, of course, tears. And the instructor's like, in front of everybody, he says to the kid, "Do you know why you're crying?" And the kid goes, "Because my what did he say? He said something like, "Because my stomach hurts." He said something like that, right? Because my stomach hurt. I wasn't able to hold it. I don't know if it was one of those things where you hold your kata, right? And then you're supposed to take a hit, kind of thing. And then the instructor hit him real hard, and yeah, so he's like, I wasn't flexing enough, or whatever, right? And the instructor goes, "No, that's not why." He says, "You're crying because you're ashamed, and your feelings are." It was some sick Hannibal Lecter stuff. He was talking about, uh, yeah, that's just some cruel, unnecessary stuff. Uh, so that that was my first real instructor. Because the other one was PE class. So uh, it took me a while to understand that that's not cool. And when I started going to other schools, I started noticing like, whoa, they don't, these other instructors don't treat us that way. And I was like, martial arts can be fun, you know. But believe me, I had some terrible instructors. I had some instructors that they wanted to be. You could tell like they look at you and they're like, "Oh, new recruit. Oh, come here. I shall teach you. You will bow down." And it's like, whoa, bro. I don't know what you're thinking, but that's I'm not into that, you know. Uh, and then there's some others where I went and learned from a person that I knew was a horrible human being. It was a criminal because I wanted to know what criminals do. Like, how do criminals attack people? So I trained basically with a criminal. And yeah, I don't recommend it. I'm lucky to have come out of that intact. Yeah, seriously, seriously, yeah. So, my journey has definitely been a roller coaster. So just saying, um, and it's all it's all part of life, and learning how to deal with all that and still enjoy. And at the end of the day, I can say I love martial arts. You know, that's what's important, is to be able to see the good and the bad and everything in between. And I've come a long way, and I've seen it and be able to deal with all that. I believe it. I've been to gyms where, you know, the new students are fresh meat and they just beat up on you. I've been through that. I've been um, where every time you go to one of these schools, there's a pecking order. This person's alpha, this person's, and there's this like bully like pecking order that you got to deal with, and all that kind of stuff, and some instructors, they just want to always just keep selling you stuff. uh, well, here's a seminar. Oh, make sure you subscribe to this, make sure you buy this. Oh, this is an excellent video, buy this, buy that. So anyway, this is over 30 minutes now. uh, so yeah, all I'm saying is be careful and have fun, because it can be fun. It can be real fun. Um, and I'm glad that you're probably like, well, I was having fun until I saw your video. Just gotta let you know about the deep end and the sharks, and you know um, the stuff like that that's out there. But it can still be super fun. So yeah, that's it for now. Thank you for viewing, and take care, folks.